direct from the web, it's Billy Masters Live. And now, please welcome your host, Billy Masters.
Oh, my. Welcome to Billy Masters Live. Oh, look, you can see a little bit of the background. Let's see if we can get that out of here. Hold on. Let's see. Yeah, I'm not sure if we can. Oh, there you go. Look at that. We got rid of the background. Hello, welcome to Billy Masters Live. I am, of course, your host, Billy Masters. We are here, and today is, let's see if we've got it here. Today is Thursday, March 4th, 2021. And it's a gorgeous day in Boston. It's 24 degrees, but it is a gorgeous day here in Boston. Tell me if you're hearing me, people. I'm assuming you are. I know I have a little bit of like that bedhead. But it was a little bit of a frantic day. There were things going on. There was stuff, technical things we were doing. And I'm really not sure what's happening. Anyway, we have a very exciting show today. One of my favorite actresses of all time, Renée Taylor, is with us. I see her actually getting ready in the background. She, those of you who are younger than me, you know her just from The Nanny, but I have known her for years on her own with all of her many projects with her husband, Joe Bologna. We're going to be talking also to their son, Gabriel Bologna, who has directed and made a really fabulous movie called Tango Shalom. And we're going to talk about that. But I want to talk a little bit about Renée Taylor. And I know you're going to look and say, oh, he's not looking right in the camera. But I'm getting some things ready. So when I first moved to Los Angeles, which is, 21 years ago, maybe 22 years ago. God, time flies. I saw Renée a lot. I would run into her at events. I knew people she worked with, and she always struck me exactly the way she did on television. One of the smartest people in the room, funniest people in the room, observing everything, and just quick. And I like quick people because, I'm a Bostonian. And in Los Angeles, for those of you who don't know, in Los Angeles, a lot of people are very relaxed and very slow and very reserved. And, I like to keep things moving. When I first moved to LA and I went to set up a bank account at what was then California Federal, CalFed, which is now part of Citibank, I remember the hoops and the slowness and just relax, Mr. Masters. And I kept saying, in Boston or in New York. And finally the woman said, you're not in Boston anymore. And I said, you're telling me. Okay, I'm looking at your comments already. You are hearing me. Audio is fine. Thank you. Anyway, so eventually I kept seeing Renée Taylor, and I showed up at some of the Nanny tapings, and I became friends with Peter and Fran. But anyway, I met Renée after a performance of Bermuda Avenue Triangle, which was a play she and Joe wrote and were in together and starred their good friend Lainie Kazan along with them. Although at some point I swear I saw Nanette Fabre in it. But anyway, we'll talk about that. Anyway, I had talked to her, and she said to me, I've always seen you around. And I said, well, I didn't just want to come up to you or whatever. She's like, anytime you see me or you're going to run into me, come up to me. I love talking to people. So fast forward, a few years later, she and Joe were doing If Ever You Leave Me, I'm Going With You. I want to say it was actually on Broadway, but again, she'll tell me. At the Lyceum Theater, maybe? Anyway, people say a lot of things. I left a note for her at the stage door saying, hi, it's Billy Masters. I'm coming to the show. Would love to see you afterwards if you're receiving. And before the show started, somebody came up to me in the auditorium and tapped me on the shoulder and said, are you Billy Masters? And I said, yes. He said, I'm Renee's assistant. She wanted you to know that she got your note and she'd love to see you afterwards. And I said, how did you find me? And he said, well, we went to the box office and got your seat number. I mean, that's going the extra mile. Anyway, afterwards I saw Renee, and this is a photo. I had bangs then. Look at that. And a see-through shirt. Well, you've seen Renée Taylor. And that started a love affair that has continued to this day. Just 2 years ago, she did her fabulous one-woman show, My Life on a Diet, in Beverly Hills at the Wallace Annenberg Theater. And I was there with Peter and Fran and the rest of the nanny crowd. And they all came to see her, and I also was there. So there we are. And now I am thrilled to say that here we are again, me and the fabulous Renée Taylor.
Hello, how are you?
Hi, sweetheart. How are you?
I just got off the phone with Peter, and he said to say hello to you.
Oh, I told them that you were going to be on today. They love you so. It's funny. I texted Peter and said, I want to have Renee on the show, and I want to approach her. And what do you think? He's like, she'd love it. You would think, to me, you're such this icon because you have done so much that you forget that you're just Renee.
Thank you.
You're back in New York. You've been living in New York for how long?
I love living in New York. It's so alive.
Oh,
it's so not L.A.
You were born in New York.
I was born in the Bronx. And they don't say the Queens, the Brooklyn. They say only the Bronx.
Well, because it's the best. That's why. And what was the name on your birth certificate?
The name of my first what?
No, the name on your birth certificate.
Renee Wexler.
There isn't a middle name, Renee? So when did Adorme become part of your name?
When did what?
Wasn't Adorme part of your name?
No, my mother named me after a silent screen star, Renee Adoré.
Adoré.
But
so you have a name with two accents in your name.
Uh-huh. No, Renée Taylor.
Right, but did your mother love films?
Yes. She loved them all.
Did she have aspirations for you before you even did?
Yes. She wanted to be an actress too. And I said, hey, you're good. Because I got her a scholarship with Bill Hickey. I said, why don't you become an actress? And she said, because no one ever loved me the way I love you.
Oh. So really, did she live through your successes?
Not really. She died just before Made for Each Other was released.
Because the character Made for Each Other, there is a character kind of based on your mother. How much of that is real?
A lot of it is real, but she didn't like that her character wasn't glamorous.
Was your mother into astrology like your mother in that movie?
Yes, she was. And she said about Joe, they said, how do you feel, Mrs. Wexler, your daughter marrying a Catholic? And she said, no, what bothers me is that he's a Capricorn.
And there's that big scene getting ready for your show that she'll yell at him for this. No, after the show, when she yells at him, this, that, you're this and that. But the one thing she couldn't forgive is that he's a Capricorn. How did you even get started? What was your first thing? Because I know there were so many opportunities in New York for young performers back then.
I was whatever they were looking for. They were looking for a dancer, I was a dancer. If they were looking for a singer, I was a singer. And I got into comedy because I was having trouble getting work as a dramatic actress. And they said, it's easier to be hired in comedy. Try that. So I said...
And was it easier?
Oh, yes. Much easier.
You know what I love about your performances, early, late, it doesn't matter, is that they're so layered that even when you're playing the most outrageous comedy part, there's always one foot in truth. And is that a decision you've made, or is that just who you are? Do you always have both sides?
I don't know. For instance, in Bermuda Avenue Triangle that you saw.
Yep.
And by the way, there's a lot of my mother in Tango Shalom. Have you seen that?
I have.
Well, you know, my mother just cried all the time when she was happy or sad or scared or angry. She just cried. And that's what I did in Tango Shalom. And that's what I did in Bermuda Avenue Triangle. I was always crying too.
So were you channeling your mother?
Yes. I thought that was very funny. Even when I think it's
hysterical. Yeah, I think it's hysterical that she's always hysterical, crying, and it's hard to tell if she's happy or sad.
That was how it was with my mother. She was always crying. I'd say, are you happy or are you sad?
You made it down to the village with a lot of people who were starting out in those days. And I think it bears noting, Barbra Streisand was your opening act. And I say that because I was at the Staples Center when she turned to you. Do you remember this?
Oh, you were in the dressing room with me and her?
No, when she said it from the stage.
Oh.
And she said that she could do your whole act because she'd seen it so many times.
Oh, yes, she could. When I came backstage, she did it. She was talking to Dustin Hoffman, and she started doing me. Yeah.
Were those good days? Because, we romanticize it, that it sounds so exciting that all these people are working together and you're struggling, but at least you're not alone. Or does it just seem good on reflection?
No, it was great. It was all great. When I met Joe, I was working at the Improv. I was making $5 a set. And I thought I was a hit. I thought, where can I go from here?
And how was she doing? I mean, what was he doing at that point?
Barbara?
No, Joe. What was Joe doing?
Oh, he was working at an advertising agency, producing commercials. And he invited me to come in and audition for him. And it was a cereal commercial. And the people in the room were very serious. And they said, could you do it with more abandon? So I threw the cereal up in the air and I went, whee! And they said, thank you. And my husband said, I'll call you. So like a few minutes later, the phone rang. And I said, hello, Joe. He said, yeah, this is Renee. I said, I thought you said you're going to call. He said, where are you? I said, in the lobby. He said, I'll be right down. And that started our courtship.
And was it romantic immediately or was it professional immediately?
No, it was the minute I saw him, I knew he was the man I was going to marry. The minute I looked in his eyes.
What was it about him?
I just felt I knew him in other lives.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
So it's a little bit like your mother, a little psychic feeling.
Well, more than psychic. It was like boing, you know. And later he said that about me, he thought this woman's looking at me very funny.
Mm-hmm. So he didn't know what to make of you.
No.
When did he fall in love with you? Did he tell you?
A few months later.
Yeah, so it wasn't as immediate for him.
No, he was really scared. He was scared of me. I was like a truck going 80 miles an hour.
Did you work together first, or did you pursue a personal relationship?
No, it was a personal relationship. It was years later we began to work together.
And why is that? Did you know that you had this kinship artistically, or did that grow?
Well, he had a career as a producer of commercials and then a director. And I was working as an actress on Broadway. I was understudying Ann Jackson. As a matter of fact, that's how I met Lainie. I was on a show with her. She was understudying Barbara Streisand. And we were on a show about understudies. That was about 55 years ago when we met.
Oh, wow.
Did
you ever get to go on?
What?
Did you ever get to go on?
Oh, yeah. I played for 6 weeks. It was great. I played with Gene Wilder, Alan Arkin, Eli Wallach. It was exciting. And in the audience was George Abbott, Mel Brooks, all these people who gave me work, who saw me when I went on.
And did it come from that performance? Can you trace so many opportunities from them?
Absolutely.
See? So again, it's a good advice to people to always say yes to things, because you never know where it will lead.
Always understudy. Always.
And you get paid.
Not so much.
There's a great story how you came out to Hollywood, where you had met Jerry Lewis in New York. Could you tell that story?
Which one?
Well, the way how meeting Jerry Lewis brought you out to California.
Oh, yeah. I was on The Tonight Show with him. And he said, oh, you're so talented. If you ever come to California, look me up. So the next day, I flew to California. And I said, I'm here. And he said, oh, yeah, but there's nothing in the movie I'm doing now. I said, I've seen your movies. Just tear out 5 pages and write in 5 other pages with a part for me. And he laughed. He said, here, tear out 5 pages. And I did, and that's how I got in the Errand Boy.
And we have a clip from that, so let's show people Renée Taylor with Jerry Lewis in The Errand Boy. This is your first movie? Okay, hold on. Here we go.
Where did you get that film?
I've got all sorts of clips to surprise you with, Renée.
Oh, I'd love to have
Such a great
that.
scene. Oh, I'll send you everything. Don't worry. Your speech patterns are so similar. You know, I don't know, you have a great ear for picking up accents and rhythms in people's voices.
I never knew that.
Yeah, it really was amazing how once he started talking, you were very similar. It's a great, and again, so smart.
Thank you.
But I found another clip, Renée, from the same year that says it's you. Now, I don't know if this is you. So, Renée, I want you to look at this clip. There's no sound to it. And tell me if this is you. Here we go.
Wow, that's me. What is that? I don't know what film that is.
Some silent film called like The Cherries Jubilee or something.
Wow.
Also from 1961.
Wow.
Do you know who any of those people are?
No, and I never saw that before. Where'd you get that?
Yeah, who knows? You know, we got a research team here. Renée, so you made it out to LA. But once you did The Errand Boy, did you stay out and focus on film, or did you go back and forth?
No, I was always back to New York because the theater was my dream. To be in the theater was more important than movies.
And at what point in the career do you and Joe say, you know what, let's do something professionally?
I guess we were married about 3 years, and we went to see a bad play. And I said, let's start writing. We can do better than that. So we started writing.
And you were the ambitious one, it sounds.
Yeah, the first thing we wrote was Lovers and Other Strangers. We did it on Broadway. We sold it to the movies. We were nominated for an Academy Award. We said, hey, this is easy.
You started at the top. And, again, another thing that I admire about you, a performer, a writer, a director, a producer. I mean, you've really done everything. And
a mother.
And I'm talking about the professional side. Well, that's a whole other job. How did you didn't have Gabriel right away. So were you able to, did you purposely decide, let's focus on the career now and then the family then?
No, I'm just writing a book about Joe, actually. And in it I say, we were in rehearsal for Lovers and Other Strangers. And Joe said, let's have a baby. I said, are you crazy? Just we're at the threshold of everything we've always wanted. And he said, yeah, that's when you do it, because who cares what the critics say about the play? We love each other. We're happy. We're successful. So let's take the power away and let's have a baby.
And did that convince you? That was it?
That was it.
And did you have to juggle? Did you guys decide, okay, if you're working, I'll stay home, or we'll just make it work?
No, we took Gabriel with us everywhere. As a matter of fact, he was so showbiz. He used to come to our plays and come backstage and say, I'll tell you why you didn't get the laugh at a very early age.
It's everyone's a critic. There's an interesting interview. You brought Gabriel when he was in high school. He went to Hollywood High, and you and Gabriel appeared on our good friend Skippy Lowe's show, and he talked about what it was like growing up with you. So let's look at that.
Hey, that's your son over there. Is that your son, Renee?
Yeah, that's my boy.
Hey, he's Beverly Hills High?
Yeah.
And how old are you?
I am 17.
And Gabriel.
Emancipated.
It's Gabriel Bologna.
Yes, Bologna.
Your father is Joe Bologna. Tough to be. Tell me, is it tough to be a son of Joe Bologna and Renée Taylor? Tell me.
No, it's more comical than tough.
What do you mean by that? More comical? A lot of jokes around the house, or what?
Too many jokes. Sometimes you get scared how many jokes. So you want to lock yourself up in the room. You want privacy. I come home and my mom's jumping on the trampoline, which she does an hour worth of trampoline jumping a day on the phone with her agents. While the trainer's there, while the dog is running around on the pink, while we're having people walking in and out, and my dad reciting monologues all over the place. It's like, I love quietness.
So it's a lot of fun to be around that house then. So
So were you jumping up and down on a trampoline?
Yes, that makes me cry. Did Gabe see that?
I don't think he's seen it. He's backstage, but I'll send it to him. Was that what life was like? That, people were coming and going, and
we had so much fun. It was a crazy life, and we had so much fun. And now I'm writing about it, the line that was in Thornton Wilder's Our Town, which is, do we realize how great life is while we're living it?
And do we?
I don't think so, but now looking back, I'm saying, what a great life it was.
But it seemed like you were always having fun, and I think that's because you worked with Joe a lot, so you were able to keep it all together.
And when we were nominated, we went to the Academy Award. I was always starstruck, and I met all these stars. I couldn't hardly talk. I met Anthony Quinn. I said, this is my husband. We just got married, Joe Bologna. I couldn't remember Joe's name, and Joe said, "Nya." Then I met Alfred Hitchcock, and I said, "Oh, I'm so happy to meet you, Mr. Hotchpick." And he said, "Hotchpotch."
Hodgepodge. So So you never lost that fan ability to really, pinch yourself moments when you'd be on a film like The Detective with Frank Sinatra. You must have pinched yourself.
I did. Every day I'd say, so you're Frank Sinatra.
Did he say, yeah, I'm Frank?
Yeah, when I came in, he said, yes, I'm Frank Sinatra.
Did it ever get old? Like, did you ever get used to the fact that these were your peers?
No, and never. I was always excited. I still am to meet people. I still am.
I found a clip that I had never seen, so why should you be the only one seeing things you've never seen? You wrote something, you and Joe together wrote for Lucille Ball and Jackie Gleason.
Oh, yeah.
How did that come about?
We first went to Hollywood, and our agent, who was Mike Ovitz, said, how'd you like to write a show for Lucille Ball and Jackie Gleason? And we said, we'd pay anything to do that. And we did. And you have a clip from it?
I do. And now, did you take, it seems to me that where you are at your best, you and Joe, is really writing about real relationships. Is that what they wanted, or did you bring up that idea?
No, we always brought it up. They didn't want it. They wanted jokes. But with us, we always wanted to write about love relationships.
Yeah, and what I think is so funny is that the dialogue is always so real that you can identify with it. You've heard these lines a million times in real life.
Joe's family would say about me, watch what you say. She'll put everything that you say in a play.
Well, speaking of which, so here now I'm going to set up the clip. Lucy and Jackie Gleason have been married for years. They've kind of taken each other for granted, so they go on a second honeymoon to Italy. And let's show the clip.
We lost your sound. Kevin.
No, I'm back. Oh. I'm here. So, have you seen that? Probably not in years. But that is so funny, but it's also so real. And it's not the way Lucy and Jackie Gleason usually presented themselves.
Yeah, that was real fun to work with them.
Well, I just think that, again, for young writers, starting again at the top.
We were very fortunate.
And what did Lucy think of you? Did she like you? Did she like the work you gave her?
Well, she was madly in love with Joe. As soon as she met him, everybody fell madly in love with him, all the women. She said she wanted to put him in a special with her to play her young lover, and he did.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
See? It seems that he didn't do as much acting as you did, but he did big things, but it seemed like you were the one that was constantly working. Is that how it seems?
No, he was the big movie star, constantly working.
Really?
He starred in, I could name them, all the, Blame It on Rio, My Favorite Year, Woman in Red.
And speaking of My Favorite Year, we have one of your favorite co-stars and one of my favorite people, Lainie Kazan, is here.
In person? In person.
Yes. Back up, Lainie, so we can see you.
Back up?
Yeah, there you are. You're gorgeous.
Wait a second. Here I am.
There you are. There you are. Hi, honey.
How you doing, everybody? Hi, Renee.
You look so thin.
I am thin. I'm thinner than I've ever been. Thinner than I've ever been.
Lucky you.
Can you tell me, Lainie, how did you and Renee meet?
Well, we met many, many moons ago. On
55 years ago, which is funny because we're not even 55.
Yeah, we were children on the Merv Griffin show. I can't get in the middle of the screen for you. There I
Hold
go.
on, wait, let me... Go ahead, I can hear you.
How should I do this?
Myself out of the picture.
There we go.
Fine. You're
Okay.
fine, Lainie. God,
So we
you're
met on the Merv Griffin show, and then we met several years later. I was at I told this story to Renee. She doesn't believe it, but it's true. I was actually, I think I told you this, Billy, but we were at a little shop on Melrose in Hollywood. I was, and all of a sudden, I felt she said, "Are you Lainie? You're Lainie Kazan." She said, "I want to take you home with me and weigh you. And if you weigh 35 pounds less or 40, maybe 40 pounds less, I'm going to put you in a television series that we just wrote." And I would go to her house and I actually would get weighed. And that's the truth. And we
What
did
was the special?
The series was,
What was the show?
what was the show? The title?
Way home.
Way Home. And it was wonderful. It was a wonderful television show, but it didn't go.
We talked earlier, Lainie, about you guys appearing in Bermuda Avenue Triangle, and I have this gorgeous picture of you guys at the opening night in L.A.
Wow, that's
Wow.
great.
And of course, this one, was it was such a delight seeing you two have so much fun. And Renee, what I loved about the play is it was almost like two completely different characters between Act 1 and Act 2.
That was the whole point of it.
We had
You got to blossom.
We had so much fun.
We had so much fun. We really had so much fun. I've never done a play where every single line was like a roller coaster of laughter. I mean, it was unbelievable, the laughter. It would intoxicate you. It was so much fun. And Renee is such a genius, and Joe, and it was extraordinary experience. It was an extraordinary experience. I love it.
So funny. Lainie is so funny. Isn't she funny in Tango Shalom?
Well, we're going to show. Here's a photo of you guys. And, again, it's like it's two pros. I mean, and study in contrast. But I want to show a clip. Gabriel is backstage, so hopefully he doesn't mind. I'm going to show a clip from Tango Shalom. Let's see, where is it? Hold on.
Renee, you look so pretty.
Thank you.
Where is the clip from Tango Shalom? God, we must have. Oh, here. Is this it? There. Nope. See, I got too many clips back here. First, before I show the clip, Lainie, how did they come to you for it? Lainie's knocking things over. Don't worry.
Yeah, I did. I knocked things over, but it's okay. How did it?
Because you've worked with them so many times. You've done Love Is All There Is. You've done so many other things.
Well, I love them, and we're good together, and we're very. I don't know. It's very simpatico. It's very real. It's honest, and it's funny, and it's the truth of the experience at the moment, and we just get it. And she gets hers, and I get mine, and together we just have a ball. I can't explain it.
Yeah, well, Renee, I was just going to ask you. Renee, you've worked with so many people. What is it about Lainie that the chemistry is so perfect?
I don't know. We're like sisters. I want to do a series with her.
Yeah,
we're so funny together. We were on the Nanny together, and we played arch enemies on the Nanny. We even had a food fight together.
Oh, that was hilarious.
And we just laughed all the time.
Well, and not only that, but on Happily Divorced, you also showed up, both of you, too. Because, Lainie, you were Fran's mother in that, and Renee was Fran's parents' neighbor. So this little troop of you just keeps going along, looking for more things to do.
Well, we want to do a series together, and we've tried to do one, and I don't know what's going to happen. We've come up with some really good ideas, and hopefully it'll happen. It'll happen.
how was it working with Gabriel? I think, is Gabriel Gabe? I don't know. I see you backstage, but I can't click on you. So, Gabriel, if you're back there, try to get on. Look at that. Renee and I had less problems than Gabriel and I. But how is it, Lainie, working with Gabriel as a director who you've known since he was born?
Before. It was great. He was a wonderful director, a very accomplished kind of a director. He was sensitive and bright, and just an ear. He listens, and he tells you the right things to do, and he's wonderful. He's just wonderful. I enjoyed working with him immensely. I would work with him again and again.
I bet you would. Renee, what is it like being directed by your son?
Oh, it's great, because he'd say, "Ma, cry more." He'd say, like, "Remember when my cat was lost and you had to tell me and you were crying? Cry like that, Ma."
Renee could always cry. She was always crying. If she wasn't making you laugh, she was making you cry. Oh, God.
What is the difference between you two have worked together on film and on stage? Is there a difference, or do you both just click into whatever you're doing?
For me, it's a little larger for the stage. It's not as intimate. It's when you work on film for me, and I don't know if this is true for Renee, I get the camera speaks for me. But when I'm on stage, I speak for me. So it's got to be a bit broader, a bit more. So I think that's, it's an intimate experience on film. What do you think, Renee?
What do you think, Renee?
I love, whatever I'm doing, I love. If I'm on film, I love it. If I'm on the stage, I love it. I like doing big things on the stage. And I like doing intimate things in movies and letting the camera find you. So there's something to be said for every medium.
Yeah, both are phenomenal.
Well, the fact that you both have such variety in your careers means that you can never be bored, because you do one, you do the other. You also do live in terms of one-person shows, so there's that as well.
And she's going to be doing the third movie.
Yeah, it might be We're going to do a number 3.
Oh, that would be fantastic. But speaking of this one, we've got Gabriel finally. I see him there. Hey, Gabriel.
Hey.
Hello, everybody.
Hello, darling.
You don't write, you don't call. If I'm not on a show with you, I don't see you.
Well, we'll just have to make a sequel then, Mama.
Gabriel, I was texting him when Renee and I were setting up earlier. I said, I don't want to interrupt you because you're eating. She's like, no, I'm having chocolate ice cream in honor of my son. And I said, well, if it weren't your son here, would you still have the chocolate ice cream? She said, yes, I'd still have the chocolate.
No, because he just won another film festival.
This film has done so well. Gabriel, congratulations.
Fantastic. Congratulations.
It just won, it won India and now 2 in Canada because we're so international.
Yeah, Gabriel, can you explain what the movie is about? Because you are, and what people have to know, you also co-wrote it, and your father was one of the writers on it as well. So tell people what the film is about.
Well, Rabbi Moshe Yehuda is a Hasidic Jew who gets a calling to dance the tango. In order to save his Hebrew school from imminent bankruptcy, he signs up for a tango dancing contest with a very beautiful tango dancer. Unfortunately, he's observant Orthodox Jew, and he's not allowed to touch a woman. He's Hasidic. So how does he do it? So he actually gets advice from a priest and a Muslim imam and a Sikh holy man, and they all help him to hatch together a plan to enter this contest and win it without compromising his sacred beliefs.
And I'm going to interrupt right there, because one of the things I found most fascinating is it really is a movie about bridging the religions. That then, there's the scene when he tries to go into the mosque, which I loved, because they won't let him in. And they're like, you don't believe in Muhammad. And he's like, but we both believe in Abraham. And you could look at what you don't have in common, or you could look at what you do have in common.
Yeah, we were waiting for all this resistance, and it never happened. The Muslims we work with, we even work with the Vatican. This may be the very first movie in history to have all the major religions working together. And how ironic was it? It was for a comedy.
And also, what a great message, which is, there was a moment where he goes to the head rabbi, or whoever, and he asks, is it okay if I do this? And he keeps talking about the intent, that you're not going in with a malicious intent and you're not trying to touch her. So if something happens, it was an accident, and that is forgivable.
Yeah, there was a rabbi who saw the movie, and he said a word that he learned in rabbinical school. I think it was called shaila, which is every day observant Jews, Orthodox, Hasidic Jews, they walk this line where every day they have to ask themselves, in this modern world, how do I stay true to my beliefs at the same time accomplish my goals in, the temporal, non-sacred world? And, very, very conservative Orthodox Jews saw the movie and they loved it too. And I think, I think we're onto something. I think all the religions have something more in common than we thought, which is the need to belong. And that's really what this movie is about, is the need to be part of something.
And coexist.
Yeah.
That's what I took from it, was that, this lead character is looking towards other people, not excluding them. And actually, one of the most touching scenes is with your father, when he sits down with your father in the park. And your father is sort of, telling, he's a priest, I should tell people. He's a Roman Catholic priest. And he sort of is giving him the wisdom of his years, and to look for ways to do something, not reasons not to.
Evan?
Yeah, believe it or not, my dad did that scene that was the day before he went into cancer surgery for stage 4 pancreatic cancer. And in between the setups, I'd say to my dad, I hope this is okay. Dad, I'm sorry that we're shooting this now. How are you dealing with it? He was saying, thank goodness I have this to focus on, because I'm so terrified about this operation. And I think that's one of the other reasons he gave it his all. I mean, it's such a mystical scene,
Well, especially because it's outside and you're looking at the sky, and they're sort of pondering the meaning of life and the meaning of these restrictions that we put on ourselves. And Renée, it must have been really touching for you to see Joe working, especially that close towards surgery.
He was so illuminated. He just was radiant. It was just a joy to look at him.
And can I just say, Gabriel, it's gorgeously lit. I mean, everybody looks gorgeous in this, but your father looks almost angelic. And maybe because it's outside, or maybe because there's something coming out of him that he knew it was his last performance, but he glowed. Am I the only one that noticed that?
No, I was saying he was just so spiritual. It was just a wonderful experience for me to be in this movie with him.
there's a saying or a term in art history called archaeopoetica, which is God finishes the work of art. Like there are famous paintings that hadn't been finished, and the mold on the painting from years actually finished the painting. There are experiences like that in film. I mean, we happened to be shooting that scene where the sun was right behind my father, silhouetting him. It just happened to work out that way. And we've had so many experiences like that throughout the whole film. I mean, you know, we had to shoot 5 separate scenes in the rain. And we realized the only way we could do it is digitally put in the rain because they were non-consecutive scenes. And literally, on those 5 separate days, it rained in those scenes.
Just when you needed it.
Yeah. And that's the term, archaeopoetica, which is, you know, when forces beyond your creativity aid a work of art.
And it all comes together. Did you even know what you had till you sat down to edit it?
You know, we have so much creativity in this film. I mean, look at Lainie and my mom. I mean,
oh, well, I do every day. Look at them.
Yeah. The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel is pretty much based on those two, okay? They were like headliners at Grossingers, okay? I remember coming down the stairs as a child and seeing my father chatting in a room with, you know, Frank Sinatra, Gene Kelly, Lucille Ball. You know, between Lainie, my father, my mother, their boundless humanity and humor. They added so much to the film. And at the same time, we had these 2 immigrant brothers, the Laniato brothers, Jose, who plays Rabbi Moshe Yehuda, and Claudia, who plays his brother, real stretch, who are also producers on the film and wrote the film with my dad. These guys had something you've never seen in your entire life. I mean, almost like watching like old school you know, comedies where they would just like banter back and forth. I mean, they're absolutely hysterical, and there was just so much humor in this movie that we would often have to cut out the sound of laughter from the crew members because they were so funny. I mean, there's one scene where Lainie and my mom turned to me after they did a little rehearsal. They said, look, we're just exhausted. I mean, you know, they came up with so many funny ad-libs, and they were just like, can we get through this scene? I said, I already shot it. They're like, what? I'm like, they were so in it. They thought it was a rehearsal, you know? And
you've already got it in the can.
Yeah, and that was like every single day we were shooting. I mean, it's just absolutely hysterical. You know, we'd meet people on the street that I say, hey, you want to be in a movie? And literally, they were absolutely hysterical. I mean, one of the break dancers in the film that we met on the street was like that, you know? Sure. You know, it was literally just constantly evolving. And, you know, even Yasir, who plays the imam, you know, he's an Iraqi.
It's a gorgeous scene when they're walking down the street.
Yeah, he has a, you know, he's an Iraqi American, and I said to him, you know, you don't hear too many about Islamic comedians, you know, and he said, you know, my family is a very funny family. You know, my granddad was a world-renowned psychologist in studying, you know, Jung and Freud, and you know, you wouldn't know it, but there's humor in all groups of people, and we kind of brought that out in every single religion that we we shot in their holy temples. We went to a Sikh temple, and in the music too. By the way, I mean, this is a real musically rich film. It's almost like a musical.
No, constantly. The underscoring through the whole movie is gorgeous.
Yeah, the Sikhs, they have like 11-piece band.
What, and is it your wife that also worked on?
Yeah, my wife co-composed it.
Yeah.
The film with another brilliant composer named Zoe Tiganoria, who's a world-renowned what do you call that? Accordion virtuosa. Mm-hmm. And, we had this idea going into the film that we were going to make a very, very rich, culturally fun movie. At the end of the day, I had no idea this would happen, but it turned out to be really sexy. Like, who would ever think that tango dance sequences with a man and a woman who cannot touch can be really sexy, So there's a whole other element to it. I mean, it just has so many layers, Well,
I want to show a clip of Lainie and Renée working together. Not the funniest scene in the movie, but because it's a very touching scene, although it's funny as well. We'll take a look at this and then we'll talk about it.
In Russia, my father, he had a clothing business, The government, they took it, they seized it, and it killed him. I hated being poor. I hated it.
When my husband got sick, and then he died, I still haven't found what I'm living for.
If people don't know, obviously, these have been adversarial people who have come together to help this couple, and they realize they have more in common, just like the religions do. They find out they have more in common than they don't. And
very, very powerful scene. And this is a comedy, and that's a very touching scene, yeah.
And Renée, I was thinking about you because, Joe was still alive at that point, but you have to be thinking to yourself, what is life going to be like if he doesn't make it? And did that come into your mind during that point?
Yes, it did. It did. Actually, I didn't think I'd live after he died. And I was already anticipating and thinking about how am I going to live without him.
So again, you really bring that into that speech. Does doing something, but I'll ask Renée and Lainie, does doing something that mirrors something you're going through on screen, does that make it easier or does it make it harder?
Makes it easier for me.
Yeah, it's easier.
Okay. For you, it's easier?
Because you have an outlet.
Yeah, because you can express yourself somewhere. And this is your chosen profession, and why not, use what you're going through? I mean, it's an unfortunate thing you're going through, but you feel better once you've expressed it. I do. Don't you, Renée?
Oh, yeah. I have a birthday coming up, and for my birthday, I'm going to ask everybody to tell a story about Joe, and I'm going to tell stories about Joe, too. I'm writing a book about him called If You Ever Leave Me, I'm Going With You, which was the name of the play that we did together, but that's how I feel.
Well, speaking of that play, which was a great play, I think this is a clip from it. So let's just show people Joe and Renée in action.
This next question I'm a little afraid to ask.
Oh, ask me anything. Don't be embarrassed.
Your measurements.
Well, I have a bust range of 22 to 44. I could bind myself down to 22, or I could
fluff yourself up to 44. Sure. And I bet that's your real hair color, isn't it?
No, I'm going to be honest
Well,
with you. My real hair color is
well.
much lighter than this. About once a month I darken.
Darken, don't you? Sure.
I'll have a double bourbon straight up.
You drink like a truck driver.
Stick a piece of fruit in it. That'll make the sissy feel better.
I'm a sissy. You're a sissy.
I thought you said I was a truck driver.
You're a sissy truck driver.
Oh, you have to give me that, Billy.
I'll give you that too. Renee, I got everything. This is full service.
Thank you.
Gabe, seeing your dad and mom like that, now again, that's like probably home movies for you.
Yeah, I have memories of doing my homework backstage on Broadway, literally behind the set piece. And my dad would exit, help me with my homework, go back on stage.
And then go back, finish the scene.
Yeah, and then, they would always ask me at the end of the show, how did I do? They'd go to me over the director. And by the way, they're talking to a 6-year-old sometimes, okay? I was very young. My whole life I spent, in the wings, seeing my parents film. And sometimes it actually put lines I come up with.
Really?
Yeah, I'm talking like a toddler sometimes, literally. I mean, I had those type of parents. There are some kids in the business whose parents were successful or famous, and the parents did everything in their career to hurt their kids, to feel threatened by them. My parents were the exact opposite. They would go out of their way to they'd go up to someone when I was a kid. They say, "This is my son. He's a tap dancer and a trumpet player, and he's a singer, and he wants to be a director." And I say, "Ma, Dad, just leave me alone. You're embarrassing me, and you're embarrassing other people." But that's the type of parents I had. They would always encourage me. They'd go, "Wow, this is the most brilliant finger painting I've ever seen." So I have to say, I don't know what it's like, and I can't even imagine what it would be like to have parents who feel that your entrance into the arts is like a chandra, I don't know what that would be like, and I really have deep admiration for those people, because I don't think I could have ever done what I did without encouragement.
Lainie's granddaughter, she sang with them all. She brought them in her act.
My kids, they fell asleep on the stage. They would sit in the wings. They'd sit with the band, and they both sing, and they're both great. And I included them in everything. Yeah,
it seems to me that both families were very, it's like a family business. And
I worked with my husband. My husband was my conductor.
Well, we've talked, an arranger, such great.
Right, arranger and conductor, and so we worked together at the beginning of my career. So you'll
go back. That if you watch earlier in the show, we showed you and your mom with Skippy Lowe when you were in high school talking about doing plays. So,
Did you ever see you on Skippy Lowe?
No, I got to Google that.
I'll send it to you, Gabe.
I don't know where you find all this stuff. It's extraordinary.
This is why when we were talking about when are we going to do it, I said I need a couple days just to get clips together. I have another clip. Renee, Lainie, I surprised her with some clips too. Lainie, Renee, I want to show another clip of you and Joe, because I think, again, the timing is so gorgeous. Look at this clip.
I'd like to ask your advice about something. I wore this coat in the Murray Hill Strangler, and I'm thinking of having it shortened. Do you like it this length? Or would you like to see it higher, like this?
I don't know. Either way. Higher, I guess. Why are you asking me this?
Oh, well, this is a very expensive coat. I just want to make sure it's sexy before I cut it. I mean, I think the sexiest thing in the whole world is to wear a fur coat with nothing on underneath. Don't Don't you think that's sexy?
Yeah, I guess that'd be sexy.
Yeah, I think it's very sexy. See, I don't have anything on underneath. And it just feels great.
Why are you doing this?
Look, this is silly. We're not teenagers. And I'm not good at manipulating. So, what do you think?
What was the question again?
Renee, you're so sexy.
Oh my God. Oh God. And beautiful. Oh my God.
But Gabriel, now what is it like for you, the son of them, watching something like that? Are you able to say that's just acting, or are you like, that's mom and dad?
Well, I remember being horrified seeing them fight on screen when I was a toddler, especially it's, giant projected screen. But it's very funny. My father could have been a bricklayer and my mom could have been a housekeeper. I mean, when I was a kid, I never thought in terms of like who they were, who they associated with. But if you notice now, thanks to TMZ, you'll meet a 5-year-old who knows the names of everyone in a movie they've just watched.
Right.
In those days, it wasn't that at all. I mean, it was very funny. I was on the news once. I didn't know why I was on the news, and it was because I was scared to go to school as a kid. I was 5 years old, so my parents put their production office in the cafeteria of a public school. I don't even know how you do that, but word got out, and I was interviewed for it, and I just thought, every kid gets interviewed for having parents who have an office in your cafeteria. It's interesting. Now it's a totally different world. I mean, my dad's Italian family, always cooking Italian food. And I just felt like I was living in Brooklyn. It never dawned on me that my parents actually were, part of a bigger tableau of, in show business.
Lainie, hold on a second. I got Lainie's on mute. Hold on. Lainie, you've gone back and worked with them so many times over the years. Is it immediate when you work with people you know that well? Does that make it easier?
Yes, it does. It does. Because you know what sparks them, what moves them, if you do a certain thing, I'm going to touch a core in Renee, or Joe and I played husband and wife. What did we do? Rachel and, what was that play?
Oh, that's it. Oh, I was going to say,
Rachel.
Yeah.
Did this play together.
Yeah.
It was interesting because I had never worked with Joe as my lover until, I did once before.
Hey, how about Love Is All There Is?
Love Is All There Is. Right.
Well, speaking of Love Is All There Is, let's just show a little clip of these two fabulous women in action. Take a look.
I don't know if my business can handle this kind of competition, I haven't lost 1 pound on my new diet. And my husband, he hasn't made love to me in weeks. Well, what am I going to do, Mona? Is there another woman?
Blessed Roscoe says he sees his business prospering. The Blessed Roscoe says, keep looking at the sunny side.
Good. Who's the Blessed Roscoe?
My new guide.
What happened to the Angel Vito?
His work was done on City Island. He moved on to another psychic named Shirley Balukas in Bayonne, New Jersey. But the Blessed Roscoe is a powerful presence. In the 17th century, when his eyes were gouged and his fingers chopped off and he was burnt at the stake, he smiled and said, don't feel guilty. That's why he's known as the Merry Martyr.
You tell him I'm really pleased to meet him.
The blessed Roscoe knows you are. Here, wear this rose oil when you're meeting customers. The money'll come floating in. About your diet. Maybe you're having trouble because you're afraid, like I am, that every man wants me sexually.
I've never seen that. You know that? I don't remember seeing that.
Oh,
You don't know what humor is until you see that movie. That's how funny that movie was.
you know, Renee, so many of these movies aren't available. What has happened to the rights to these movies?
No, Love Is All There Is. You can buy.
That you can buy. But
Yes.
like,
Love Is
but
Another Strangers. You can buy. Made for Each Other. You can buy them all.
Oh, can you? Okay, because I was looking at Made for Each Other. And again, you know, it's funny, Gabriel, you talked about when they fight, it's harder to watch. And there's so many funny moments, but the fight scene after her cabaret show in the diner makes me laugh so much. And I just want to show this, Renee, because Joe's acting in this is so good. And Renee, you do something which is so interesting, is that it's hard to play somebody who is not being affected by something and kind of clueless, but really is affected. And so I just want to show this scene, which I think is great.
I get the feeling about you that you're impulsive about things. You don't think them through.
Yeah. Sometimes.
You didn't spend too much time on what you were doing up there, did you?
Couple of years.
Oh, the song part. Well, that I guess I could see, but that other business, the name changing and all that. How much time did you spend on that?
5 years. It takes a long time to conceive an act. You have to get a premise, then you have to costume it, choreograph it, direct it, and then it has to gel until you feel that you've achieved an original public charisma for yourself.
It stunk.
What? My gown? I don't follow.
No, whatever it was you were doing up there, it stunk from beginning to end. All of it. All the charisma stunk. It really stunk. Now do you follow? It stunk. I mean, it stunk. It was awful.
You didn't like any of it? What about my singing? What about my timing?
You know what that means? Stinko.
It's so funny.
Brilliant.
Again, the brilliance of it, Renee, when you're writing that, how vulnerable do you have to be? You have to be as vulnerable as possible, right?
It's painful to see it now. It's painful. Thank you.
Oh, well, I'm sorry. I didn't want it to be painful because to me it's brilliant. And what I love about it is you can only do that with somebody you trust.
Well, you know, that was Elaine May's idea. She said that the girl shouldn't be talented because before I had her be a good comedian. And she said, no, I'm a bad act.
So being bad is funnier.
Yeah.
And sort of more you root for her as well, which is what I love. You know, before I end the section with about Joe, the two of you had such love. And whenever you went on stage together, you felt the love. And I found another clip of the two of you together that I think will at least put a smile on your face. Here you go.
It had to be you. It had to be you. Gave me a thrill. With all my faults, you love me still. It had to be you. Wonderful Renée Taylor and Joe Bologna, ladies and gentlemen.
You know what I see is a love story.
Yes. Thank you.
Oh, no matter what you did, there was this love story. Even when he's yelling at you, telling you stink. There's such love. Gabe, growing up, did you always know that this was a special relationship, or to you was it just all parents must be like this?
Well, it's funny because my parents wrote together, acted together, and I think they shared more than most relationships. And I kind of had a feeling that they shared something different than other people. You touched upon it earlier. So my mom studied with Lee Strasberg for years, right? In the same class with some of the greatest actors. And my dad didn't really study acting, and my mom was under the tutelage of some of the greatest mentors in Hollywood. I mean, Lane May among them. And my father didn't really have that background. And when my mom and dad met, she was the one who said, you can act, you can write, And yes, he was an Ivy League graduate and he's always had tremendous talent. But I think my dad looked at my mom as like this rocket ship that literally his creativity exploded from. And I think that's one of the main reasons why we had to always be in a beautiful place, right? Where we would either be living in Vermont or we would go to Italy. Is inspiration was extremely important to them. And I'm kind of the same way in that I need to have inspiration 24/7, at least. That's why my wife and I have so much in common, because she's very much like that as well. We collaborate on Tango Shalom together. She's a wonderful composer. And, I can honestly say that I've seen firsthand, how a relationship should be. And I honestly think that that's what my parents shared all those years.
Renee, when you were coming up in Hollywood and you saw other Hollywood couples, did you know that you had something special that your friends and colleagues maybe didn't have?
I saw it through their eyes.
Did you?
Because once I heard B. Arthur on the phone, and she was saying to someone, you should see the way he looks at her when she talks. So then, for the first time, I would say something and turn to Joe to see if he was looking at me when I talked. I saw it through other people's eyes. Because I thought everybody had a relationship like that. But then I'd hear them talk about it, how inspiring it was, and then I said, yeah, it is. I guess I just thought everyone has a wonderful marriage.
Well, one thing that I don't think every relationship had 20, 30 years in, I want to show a clip of Renee flirting with Joe over the television.
Let me hear a little bit about that, because I do understand from what I read that book is not only about diets. That book is about my favorite subject, about sex. What's that kinky?
Oh, well,
what's
you
that
and your sex,
Really, what's that kinky sex? What do you mean kinky sex? With a husband?
Yes, with my husband, I do very interesting things.
Can you tell us?
Well, like, for instance, I'm far away from him, and he's, going to be watching the show. Yes. So I'm on a show like this, but I'm still thinking about him. Yes. And at the end of your show, I'm going to drop my dress. So he'll stay.
But not on the show. Good luck with the book, Renee.
I want to. Can I just show my husband at home?
Of course, but don't take your dress off.
No, just my skirt. I just wanted to tell him I'll be coming home, and you can start without me. Get ready.
Renee, nobody has ever done that.
That was so funny with Dr. Rose. I embarrassed Dr. Ruth. That was so funny.
She had no idea what was coming. Oh, and now, Gabriel, you're sitting home.
No comment on any of that.
Is my mother about to take off her dress? I mean, but was that like normal to you? Like, well, that's Mom.
Oh, yeah. You don't even want to know what the birds and the bees conversation was with my parents.
I actually, Lainie also grew up with children in show business. Lainie, were you as open and free with your daughter in terms of sex? Oh, wait, hold on. Are you there? Oh, wait, she's muted. There you are.
No, I did Playboy magazine. My daughter.
Oh, well, we did that. Yeah, right.
Was, normal. For your mother to just. I was kind of a hippie, and to me, taking off my clothes was not anything, lascivious or wrong. That was who I was. We ran around like that. And
Can show a picture of Lainie naked in Playboy.
Lainie doesn't. I have done that with Lainie. Hold on, I probably can't. We shocked Michelle Lee the last time.
That's true. That's true.
Renee, you never showed it all. You never did.
They never asked me. I could do it alone.
Would you have?
Yes. I said to Lainie, how much money should I get to do that? 100,000? She said, I didn't even know enough to ask for money.
Do you believe that? And I was on television with a bunch of playmates who got diamonds and cars, and I got nothing. I did it for art. I did it because it was beautiful.
Well, and
I did a lot of things like that. I always chose.
I would do it now, but I'm waiting till I'm a little older.
I think we maybe shot Gabriel in the next movie. In the next movie, could you put a love scene or a nude scene in for your mother?
Oh, yeah. There's a movie she did called How to Be a Latin Lover. That was just a couple years ago, and she did a love scene with Luis Guzman and David Spade. It was a threesome.
No, that was an Adam Sandler movie.
Oh, that was over.
She showed her.
That one, by the way, she went topless in. Okay.
Oh my! Wait, I don't have a topless.
And I was there. I heard through the door. My dad was arguing with her. She's like, "I'm not letting you do that." And she's like, "But they're going to give me an extra $10,000."
Well, just because I don't want people to feel left out. There's Lainie.
Oh my God!
Lainie, now didn't you tell me, lady, you still have those beads?
Probably.
All right, because I want the beads.
And that wasn't photoshopped.
Not even nothing. That's me, babe. That was me.
Just you and your beads. But speaking of Latin Lover, even though that's not the nude scene, I do have a clip of Renee in the Latin Lover, because why wouldn't I? So another
You
clip.
are unbelievable.
It's like This Is Your Life. Okay, here we go. Renee, did you enjoy doing that movie?
Oh, yes, he's so funny. They were wonderful to me, yeah.
Yeah, I thought that your scenes stole the movie as far as I was concerned.
Thank you.
So funny.
And the same goes for Lainie, and don't mess with the Zohan.
Oh, well. Look, Lainie knows. Lainie, I have done, 2 hours devoted to Lainie. She knows that as far as I'm concerned, beads or no beads, I'll take.
I'm here for you, Renee. I'm here for you. And Dave, I'm so happy that we won the festivals. It's amazing.
Yeah.
This little fakakta movie that we did.
Yeah, it's really blowing up. And if anyone wants to see our trailer, it's on YouTube, Tango Shalom. We're in the San Diego. No, we just did the San Diego Jewish Film Festival, and now it's the Sacramento Jewish Film Festival. And there's a bunch of Jewish film festivals in Miami we're doing, and we're going to be in the LA Independent Comedy Film Festival coming up.
And if we could just win Brooklyn.
Is it a Brooklyn Film Festival?
And Gabriel, tell people what the URL is, where they can get more information about the movie.
Yeah, we have all the information of all the places that it's screening. Actually, on our YouTube page, you can also follow us on Facebook. And I will say that Lainie and my mom's performance in this, I mean, it's at a whole other level. I mean, the scene that you just saw was a very touching scene, but they are like uproariously funny in this movie.
Thank you.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Not only that, but again, they've got most of their scenes are together. Although Renee's first scene at the table in tears at the table stole the movie, as far as I was. The fact that she's just sitting there and I'm trying to figure out why is this woman crying constantly.
Well, that was my mother's mother. Her mother was always crying.
Yeah, once she said that, I'm like, oh, now it all makes sense. Lainie, did you base the character on your character on anyone?
No, I just came up with it. It was just like Gabe really gave me freedom. It was kind of wonderful to work with him because I didn't have anything in mind. It was my costume that the lady brought me that really kind of just gave me the idea of just being a crazy woman is what I was, but I was very needy. I chose to be very needy, and I wasn't getting what I wanted from life.
Well, the scene when you show up in the apartment, when you read in the paper, yeah. That scene is so funny. Gabriel, whose idea was it to even come up with this movie to begin with?
Well, the Lagnato brothers, who are from Argentina by way of Egypt. They're Egyptian Jews who fled persecution and went to Argentina, and they wrote this script about this crazy idea. I guess they were Jos was at a Purim party, and he was seeing all these rabbis dancing, and some of them even break dancing, but they can only dance with men, because he's an observant Jew, and he goes to Chabad house. And they gave me the script, and I immediately said, you know what, my dad has got to punch this up. And I knew he had that perfect combination of touching and funny. And I knew my dad was going to love it, and he did. And immediately my dad says, I got to play the role of Father Anthony in it, which is amazing because here he is playing, a priest when, my dad studied to be a priest when he was a kid and went to seminary school and all that. But he was a lapsed Catholic, so it was really full circle.
Well, since you mentioned it, let me show the trailer, since I got it here.
Why do women wear scarves or wigs on their heads?
For respect.
My name is Viviana Nieves. What's yours?
The same way it is forbidden for a man to touch any woman other than one's wife.
Moshe the children.
I had a dream.
Hashem told you to dance in a tango contest?
A Gentile dancing teacher wants to tango with you in a TV contest?
No, you're a lunatic!
You might find there's no need to touch this woman in tango.
How can I achieve my goal without sacrificing my sacred beliefs?
We're going to kick him right out of the community.
I got big problems.
Big problems can be such big fun.
How do we convince people that a young, pretty shiksa dancing partner is just a young, pretty shiksa dancing partner?
She should be dressing very modestly. You cannot even touch her hair. You cannot even have eye contact with her. If I understand the communication from that dance tango, it's impossible. Why are you hoping that he sins?
We've got work to do.
We should be praying that he doesn't sin.
I never had a best friend before.
Who is that?
Funny. God, it's so funny, Gabriel. And the trailer is so well cut, by the way.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much.
I love you all. I want to finish with Renee alone, but I want to thank Lainie. Lainie, thank you. Can I say something about Lainie Kazan?
Please.
Always there when I've needed her. This is now the fourth time you've been on. Like any time when we.
Because I love you. You're fantastic.
I love you too. God knows, Lainie.
I'm here for Renee and Gabe today. This is the woman. I love her so much.
Oh,
she's
I love you. Thank you.
Brilliant.
Thank you.
And she's a spirit that can't be quenched. Just an amazing, amazing woman.
Thank you.
At her age, writing plays and thinking of her next show and her next movie. She's a genius and full of love.
Thank you.
You are great, Renee.
Thank you. You too. You too.
She's also full of chocolate ice cream.
That's
all right. But we all need some chocolate ice cream in our life.
Thank you for having me again. I enjoyed myself.
I love you all. I'll send you an email later. Thank you for doing it. I'm glad you look so gorgeous. Thank you.
I do. I had COVID. I was.
That was what it was. I heard.
Yeah, I was sick.
So I didn't know.
But that's why I lost all the weight. But I'm good. Good. I'm fabulous. I'm great.
Great. Well, I'm glad to hear it. I will talk to you.
Well, keep it up. You look great. You look great.
Bye, honey. Oh, and Gabriel, okay. Gabriel, I am so thrilled to, first off, can I just say, you have the most pleasant voice on the phone. Gabriel left me a voice message that was so loving that I listened to it and said, it's like my best friend, like I've known him forever.
My boy, that's
what my wife said when I left a message in her machine when I first met her, so.
Well, your wife and I have something in common, and it's you. But thank you so much for helping me put this together, Gabriel. You've been great.
I have to tell you, I'm amazed at your sleuth skills in finding some of these videos. Oh my goodness! I wish we could post them online or something. The Jackie Gleason thing. Did you get that from the Museum of Broadcasting? Or
I've got my ways, Gabriel.
Some of these I never saw. I'm
going to send all of them.
Dr. Ruth,
you get them all.
My God, the world needs to know about this, Dr. Ruth.
Dr. Ruth, that's hilarious.
Oh, my God. Dr. Ruth, she cannot be shocked. This is a woman who cannot be shocked. Yeah, and yet her eyes bulges. It's hysterical.
Renee's sitting there to talk about a diet book and meanwhile taking off her clothes on national television. Anyway, Gabriel, I'm going to finish up with your mom, but thank you for doing this. I really appreciate it.
Lots of love.
Thank you.
Bye, Gabe.
Bless you.
Renee, we have to talk about the nanny briefly. Did you love doing the nanny? What was it?
I had a wonderful time. I still talk to Fran and Peter all the time. I love them so much.
Well, they're just great people. And what they told me is that having you was sort of like making it a family experience, that it was like a family on that set. But one of my favorite scenes, and it's not a scene that anyone ever brings up, but it's the scene I'm going to bring up. You did a scene with Liz Torres when she was the mother of Maxwell Sheffield's illegitimate sister. And it's two pros coming together. And on syndication, they always cut off your laugh line at the end. But I'm going to show it now. And every time they air it, I text Peter and say, they cut the line again. So I'm showing you just at work. So take a look.
Great.
the tag, that's no good is what, and they cut that on TV, but you wait and you pause and you trust, and it's so brilliant, your timing.
Right,
you can't teach great timing.
Oh, I tell a course on that.
Oh, yeah?
I teach a course called Can You Teach Comedy Timing?
And can you?
Absolutely.
Really? See, I always think you've either got those instincts or you don't.
No, you can learn. If you relax, if you concentrate, if you study your rhythm, if you push the envelope, you can learn it.
And we haven't talked about the producers. How did you get the producers?
Well, I auditioned for it, and years later, Mel Brooks said to me, "Did I ever thank you for doing that?" And I said no. And he said, "Well, thank you. I remember your audition. There were 300 girls, and you came on and did Ich liebe nicht. Ich liebe nicht." And he remembered my audition.
Well, for people who don't remember it, here it is. In a movie filled with high points, that is a high point. Everybody remembers that section, that voice.
Thank you.
And those legs. But I have, before I let you go, I have one last thing to ask you about that. A movie nobody knows, but we're in a year where we're talking about women and women directors. You did a movie that Diane Cannon wrote, directed, and starred in called The End of Innocence. And you play a woman who's in a recovery group. Her husband has left her. Do you remember this at all?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just going to show the clip, and then I want to ask you about Diane Cannon. So,
oh, my God.
I know, okay?
So how many years were you with this guy?
25 years. After 25 years, he said he was leaving me for another woman. I offered to have my body lifted.
That's not funny.
But he said it was too late.
It's over.
Dean? Hi, Stephanie. How are you? Stephanie, why don't you come on in and join the group?
That's a body lift.
Tell us.
If you give somebody all of yourself, then there's nothing left of you.
That's true.
Here's a mirror, you promised.
Okay, so this is just a little mirror game that we're going to play. You look in the mirror, and you tell us what to say.
Well, the truth game.
You want to start, sister?
Yes. An aging queen, dear.
What else?
Do you mean the blimp to my right or the lady of the evening on my left?
The lady of the what?
What do you call yourself?
I call myself a great fuck. Can you say the same about yourself?
What did I say? I call myself what?
A great fuck.
Oh, my God.
I know. But what do you remember about working with Diane Cannon?
Oh, she was so much fun. Have you shown her that?
Oh, I've been trying to get Diane on this show, and I don't think she realizes how great that movie was and how much it's really extraordinary.
Oh, I'm sure you could get her on the show.
All right, we'll try again. She always seems not interested. I don't know, but I think, again, she sang on it, wrote, directed, acted. She's like the Barbra Streisand. And you've directed. What is it about women directors that they're finally getting their due, or are they? What do you think?
Oh, I think they are. I really think they are. I had a great time directing with Joe. He just let me go and have fun, and I let him go. We went to the directors union, and they said, "How are you going to direct together?" And I said, "Well, the actors will do what he says. If it doesn't work, then they'll do what I said." And that's exactly what happened.
Do you have to, when you co-direct, do you have to map it out, or is it more organic and it just...
No, it was spontaneous.
Really? You know, I have loved your career, the diversity. Could you have planned it better, this career of yours?
Oh, yeah, I could have planned it better. I don't know if it would have worked, but I could have planned it better. I didn't plan at all. Now looking back.
Was there ever an opportunity, a role that you missed out on?
All of them. I would have liked to have played everything. I never saw a part I didn't want to play.
Did you become as ambitious as your mother wanted you to be?
More, I think.
Wow.
I still am. I still want to do things, and then I say, wait a minute, I'm much too old to do that.
Yeah, but you don't seem old. Do you feel old?
No.
Because I've been with you where you've had so much energy, and I remember in Beverly Hills, you stayed till everybody, you were the last one out of that theater. What is it about live performance?
I don't know. I'm either 38 or 88. It depends on the lighting.
And what do you feel like inside?
38.
Well, Renee, I hope we have you for another 88 years because you're a national treasure. I am when people ask me what Renee Taylor is like, and I say, have you seen her? That's what she's like. You're very much exactly who you present yourself to be. There's no artifice. And I can't wait to read this book that you're writing about Joe.
Oh, thank you. It was beautiful seeing him today. And thank you so much for sharing all that research with us. Thank you.
Sweetheart, it's my pleasure. And like I said, I will email you all of these clips.
I appreciate it.
You need, I am here for you. Renee, I want to thank you for being on Billy Masters Live.
And bless you. Bless you. Good luck to you.
Thank you so much. I'll see you soon.
I hope so. Bye.
Okay, bye-bye. Thank you, everyone, for watching Billy Masters Live. I didn't even get to all your comments. Oh, my God. What do we have here? Another great interview, Billy. Oh, look, that was Renee and Lainie are wonderful. It was enjoyable. Congratulations. Thank you. My microphone's a little soft. You know, I've never been accused of being a little soft, but what can you do? And hey, Renee, love you and miss Craig Connors. So there you go. Everyone, thank you for watching Billy Masters Live. If my sound was a little soft, what can you do, computers? I am right on top of this microphone. Do you think I've got some other black thing here that I'm doing? No. All right. I don't know if we're going to do a show Tuesday and Thursday next week. We are definitely doing a show on Thursday. If you have been following this story, I read about this story in the news about a professional wrestler who has come out as transgender and has gone public. Gabby Tufts, I think. And Gabby is going to be here next Thursday. There may also be a show Tuesday. I have a very busy schedule. Anyway, thank you for watching Billy Masters Live. As, of course, I always say, I am Billy Masters. And just remember, even an hour later, if we're here, God, my hair looks like I've been sleeping all day. Anyway, if we're here, we're live. I'm exhausted. Talk to you later, guys. Bye-bye.